Osama bin Laden is dead, the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks and most hunted man in the world, killed by U.S. Special Forces in Pakistan.
Justice has been done.
The news nearly 10 years in the making, touching off an outpouring of emotion at the White House and at Ground Zero. This morning, the dramatic details on how it all went down and the real reaction from across the country and around the world today, Monday, May 2nd, 2011.
From NBC News, this is a special edition of Today, the Death of Osama bin Laden, with Matt Lauer at Ground Zero in New York City, and Meredith Vieira, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And welcome to Today on this Monday morning. I'm Meredith Vieira. Matt Lauer is at Ground Zero, where nearly 3,000 people lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. 184 were killed at the Pentagon, 40 others on Flight 93 that crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. We're going to check in with Matt in just a moment. Meanwhile, I want to show you some of the newspapers out this morning. Obviously, the headline front page on Everyone has to do with the death of Osama bin Laden. This one, the New York Times, bin Laden killed by U.S. forces in Pakistan, Obama says, declaring justice has been done. Other newspapers, the headline more pointed, the New York Post, got him, vengeance at last, and the Daily News, rot in hell. President Obama made the announcement about Obama's death in a late-night address from the White House. Intelligence officials apparently learned of bin Laden's possible location back in August. And then last Friday, the president felt confident enough to give the order to bring the al-Qaeda leader to justice. In the years after 9/11, we heard so much about bin Laden possibly hiding out in mountain caves, but in the end, he was living in a mansion in a small, affluent town just 35 miles north of the Pakistani capital and just 100 yards away from a Pakistani military academy. NBC News has learned that bin Laden's body was recovered during the raid, and in accordance with Islamic law, it was buried within 24 hours, that burial taking place at sea. We have complete coverage this morning, beginning with NBC Chief White House Correspondent Chuck Todd. Chuck, good morning to you.
Good morning, Meredith. It was an operation 8 months in the planning, with the president personally overseeing 5 meetings in the final 6 weeks as the U.S. government zeroed in on public enemy number 1, Osama bin Laden. It was shortly before midnight when the president announced the news.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
The president made it clear getting bin Laden was always a top priority.
Shortly after taking office, I directed Leon Panetta, the director of the CIA, to make the killing or capture of bin Laden the top priority of our war against al-Qaeda.
While intelligence officials long suspected bin Laden was hiding out in Pakistan, the exact location was not known until August.
After years of painstaking work by our intelligence community, I was briefed on a possible lead to bin Laden.
That lead, a bin Laden courier, whom intelligence operatives had been tracking for years, and he led them to a large compound in an affluent town 35 miles outside of Islamabad, Pakistan.
Last week, I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action and authorized an operation to get Osama bin Laden and bring him to justice.
The president gave that final order Friday morning in the Situation Room, just minutes before leaving Washington to tour the tornado devastation in Alabama. He called the death of bin Laden the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
USA! USA! USA!
The news spread quickly, and jubilant crowds gathered at the White House.
I wanted to come out here and just show my support for the U.S.
Sunday night, White House officials made dozens of calls to key leaders all over the country. The president personally briefed former Presidents Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, who called it a momentous achievement and added, "The fight against terror goes on, but tonight America has sent an unmistakable message. No matter how long it takes, justice will be done." With nearly 150,000 troops fighting the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, some see this as a big morale boost.
I think it's an enormous shot in the arm to the U.S. Armed Forces. They've had 48,000 killed and wounded fighting the war on terror. So taking down this very iconic figure is a very significant event.
The president called the killing of bin Laden a testament to the greatness of our country. And with the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks just 4 months away, he had a special message for those who lost loved ones in the attack.
Justice has been done.
The administration is still deciding on how to release the visual evidence of the dead bin Laden. Meanwhile, we will hear from the president today around lunchtime as he has a scheduled Medal of Honor ceremony posthumously for 2 Korean War veterans, Meredith.
But Chuck, just so I'm sure of what you're saying, the administration has made a decision that they will release evidence of the body.
They haven't made that decision yet. They realize that that is necessary in some form, so they're still wrangling with how to do that, when to do that, and where to do that.
All right, Chuck Todd, thank you very much. I'm going to bring in Matt at Ground Zero. Matt, it is such an emotional morning for Americans. What is it like there?
Well, you know, it's obviously very busy here for a couple of reasons. One, there are a lot of people who've come just to be here on this occasion after learning the death of bin Laden had happened just 12 hours ago. This is also a very busy commuter hub. A lot of people here near a subway station trying to make their way to and from work. We've got some young men here who drove from Cornell some 4 hours away. And I'm joined now by Brian Lang and Bill Dolan. Brian works not too far from here, actually, at the Mercantile. Bill also works in the area, and you're here really for 2 reasons. You work in the area, but also this has personal meaning to you.
It's a bittersweet day today, Matt. As you know, my cousins, beautiful cousins, Roseanne and Brendan Lang, and our good friend Rob Scandol, they were murdered behind us. And I had a thought today, Matt, and all the trillions of dollars that were spent on this war, at least today somehow it seems worth it.
You feel justice has been served, at least in this small way?
In a small way, yes. Country has a lot of work to do, Matt, but great America, we put one big step forward.
Well, what about you, Bill? When you first heard the news last night that bin Laden was dead, what went through your mind?
No, like I said, I have a good friend, Rob Scandol. Always missed him, always loved him. So it just brings those memories back. But it's also, day to be an American is a great day. Every day being an American is a great day. And this is just an even better one, I guess. It just makes you feel more pride.
All right, Bill and Brian, thank you. And I just want to say these guys are really on their way to work, and we're nice enough to stop and delay their commute a little bit. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. We want to know more about how this Special Forces operation went down in Pakistan, just 35 miles from the capital of that country. NBC's Jim Koshevsky is at the Pentagon with more on that. Mick, what can you tell us? Good morning.
Good morning, Matt. Remarkably, U.S. intelligence officials weren't certain that Osama bin Laden was even at that compound north of Islamabad. According to one U.S. official, there was no smoking gun that put him there. But in the end, the evidence was compelling enough for President Obama to give the Navy SEALs the green light to attack. Friday morning, just minutes before departing the White House on his way to inspect tornado damage in Alabama, President Obama gave the order to launch the operation to kill Osama bin Laden. More than 2 days later, U.S. Special Operations Forces attacked bin Laden's heavily fortified compound at Abbottabad, 35 miles north of Islamabad. 1 a.m. Monday morning, Pakistan time, and a scene straight out of an action thriller. U.S. helicopters loaded with American commandos closed in for the kill. On approach, one helicopter had mechanical problems and crash landed, but no one on board was hurt. Within seconds, the 2 Special Forces teams flooded the compound and immediately came under heavy fire. And it was obvious bin Laden would not be taken alive. U.S. officials say armed with an automatic rifle, the Al-Qaeda leader fired on the Americans, who then shot and killed bin Laden.
Then the first bang came, 3 other consecutive bangs came. Then there was one fifth final bang, which made the whole sky orange. That's when I had to duck also. I thought, this is something really big.
In the exchange, the Navy SEALs also killed 2 Al-Qaeda couriers and one of bin Laden's adult sons. One woman, who the Al-Qaeda gunman used as a human shield, was also shot and killed. When the shooting stopped, the Americans loaded bin Laden's body on a helicopter to be transferred to Afghanistan. Nearly 10 years after 9/11, the operation to kill bin Laden was over in 40 minutes. Now, bin Laden's body was buried at sea, in part to prevent any gravesite from becoming a shrine to terror.